All right, Terry, ready?
Right, exactly.
I pledge allegiance to
Everybody flag the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stay standing while we recognize those who have passed since the last meeting. That's Frank H. Snyder, Michelle M.Z. Donhia, Vernon Jake Schwab, and Linda Gillis. Fire exits are right here, out this door. Don't go out that door, downstairs, down the elevator. It's this way if we have a serious problem. Correspondence, we have none. Attorney concerns?
None that we haven't discussed already.
Okay, this is the time of the meeting for petitioners that have questions for the town board in-house here at Town Hall in the courtroom or on Zoom. If you have any issues that you would like to discuss with us, bring it up now. Come up to the podium and state your name. And if it has anything to do with what's on the agenda, that will be, well, actually you should bring it up now because once we do the business, it's business. So having no comments at this particular time, it's 5 after 7. So what we can do is the first resolution. The Wawarsing Town Board by resolution adopts local law number 6 of 2022 authorizing adding place of worship to the RP zone and expanding BH, Business Highway, and RS 1 zone.
So moved.
Second.
Bill makes the motion and Paul seconds. It's a roll call vote. Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And one abstention, Mr. Machete is not here and he's not on Zoom, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Resolution, the town board by resolution approves the submission of a full application to the Ulster County Sewer and Water Grant Program.
So moved.
Second.
Bill makes a motion. Kathy seconds it. That's a roll call vote. Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's 4-0, 4 with an abstention. Resolution, town board by resolution firmly commits $49,231.34 from Napanock Water District short-lived asset account, Napanock Water District, to the proposed Ulster County Sewer and Water Grant Program. There's no expiration of this commitment.
I'll move it.
Second.
Cassie makes the motion. Paul seconds it. Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Cassie?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Mr. Machette is absent. Town Board of Wawarsing by resolution hereby resolves that the town of Wawarsing has determined that the Napanock Water District Well Rehabilitation Project is a Type 2 activity for the purposes of SEQR and no further review is required.
I'll move it.
Second.
Cassie makes a motion. Paul seconds it. Paul?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Cassie?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We're going to get to that last resolution. That's going to be something we're going to deal with Somerset Partners in hopefully the near future. It's just a small comment there. It's now almost 10 after.
No. 6 more minutes.
Okay. Town board, there's no budget mods, correct?
Correct.
Town board to approve bills is ordered. We have 3 signatures.
Yes.
And who makes the motion?
I'll
So,
make.
Cassie makes the motion. Bill seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to accept the minutes of the August 4th regular audit, the 16th special workshop, the August 18th regular and audit regular meeting, the August 22nd workshop meeting.
I'll move 3 through 6.
Bill makes a motion.
Second.
Cassie seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Those motions 3 through 6 are approved. Number 7 is tabled.
Correct.
Number 8 is town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the proposal from Enhance in the amount of $625 to upgrade the small business license to include additional database, the 500 record limit.
I'll move it.
Second.
Cassie makes a motion, Bill seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Number 9, town board to approve the release of the building department permit fee in the amount of $85. Moishe Schreibner for the rear foundation of repairs at 30 North Old Greenfield Road. This is per the request of the town building department, and it's contingent upon clarification, correct?
Correct, from the building department.
Right, from the building department.
I make a motion.
Second.
Bill makes a motion, Cassie seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Town board to approve payment application number 2 in the amount of $74,687.47 to H. Ulsterhout Excavating, Inc. for the Wawarsing Water District Individual Service Hookups, WWD bid 08.
I'll make it.
Paul makes a
Second.
motion, Bill seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Town board to approve payment application number 6 in the amount of $119,065.08 to Rutledge Excavating for the Wawarsing Water District Local Road Water Distribution Main, contract number 2.
Move it.
WWD bid 09.
Sorry about that, Terry.
Cassie makes a motion.
Second.
Bill seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Town board to approve the payment application number 1 in the amount of $427,452.50 to Grant Street Construction for the Wawarsing Water District Local Road Water Distribution Mains, Contract 1, General Construction, WWD bid 07.
Move it.
Second.
Cassie makes a
Aye.
motion, Paul seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. 13, town board to approve the payment application number 4 in the amount of $155,031.78 to Aventus Construction Company for the Wawarsing Water District Water Treatment Facility and Well Field Plumbing.
I'll move it.
Second.
Nancy makes a motion, Paul seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. 14,
Did you want to make a little note to the folks in the audience there about the Wawarsing Water District, that money is not coming from the town, it's coming from...
It's coming from the
Sure.
DP.
yes, this is a project that's been going on almost since Moby Dick was a minnow. It's probably 8 years ago, and then we negotiated a $20 million project that might end up more than $20 million, but the aqueduct's leaking in Wawarsing, and it's feeding New York City, and it's 100% the responsibility of New York City Water Supply DEP. Therefore, they're paying for it. And we're getting to the last, we're going around third base, almost to home. The treatment plant in Napanock to be done by December, and there's already some people that are starting in Kerhonkson from the we have a Kerhonkson Water District, and then we have a Napanock. In the middle is the Wawarsing. Even though this is the town of Wawarsing, this area is called the Wawarsing Hamlet, which is between Napanock and Kerhonkson. So, just to give you, an overview of what's been happening over the years, and it was broken down into about 10 phases, and some local companies like Ulsterhout Construction and have done a fantastic job in that, and some other companies like Rutledge and Grant Street and all that. It's been working out pretty good. We can mention a little bit of an issue with getting bills paid by the DEP, but we're persistent, consistent in our ways to get the money done, only because of basically the process that they have, that all the hoops that they have to go through. It's not so much that they don't understand that they have to pay them, it's the way that the system works. All right, so
Terry, we probably ought to stop for that public hearing now.
yes, okay, we're going to stop at number 14. So we have to go to 15 later. And right now, we have the most exciting part of the night, I think, here is a 7:10 public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive input and comments from the public regarding the consideration of a SEQR, which is Environmental Quality Report, review criteria under 6 NY New York CRR Part 617.7 for the Somerset Partners LLC Nevele redevelopment project. So, motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
And Bill seconds it. Public hearing is open for discussion for people on Zoom or in the audience this time.
Terry, I just want to announce that anyone should also sign in for this meeting. They haven't already.
Yes.
Sometime before they leave, you don't have to do it.
Yes, that blue table right there with no chair. Yeah, just make everybody, before you leave, just remind each other to sign that it's required. Okay? And we appreciate you doing that. So, any questions from the audience? Any questions from Zoom?
Well, do you want to ask the applicant if they want to make a presentation?
Sure.
Sure.
We have Keith Rubenstein here, who's the founder of Somerset Partners, and he's been working with the town of Wawarsing since August of last year.
I think you met earlier.
Oh, maybe a little early. And Joe Monteleone is in the audience also.
And we have numerous people from our team joining us remotely by Zoom.
Right.
I see Mike Moriello, I see Chris Round, I see William Swartkin and Donna Bridgman from West 8 who...
We want to discuss, I mean, it's very good that you're doing that, but could you explain to the public who is on? I mean...
Yes,
what-
so first let me explain who I am.
Sure.
And should I face the camera or should I face the board?
You should face...
Pretty much this way.
Okay, so my name is Keith Rubenstein. I'm a founding partner of Somerset Partners, and we are the contract vendees to purchase the old Nevele Resort. As Terry mentioned, we have been working on this project for almost 2 years now, maybe even longer than 2 years. We started on the project about a year before the pandemic, and then it stalled for a little while, and then we picked it back up during the pandemic. But we've assembled what I believe is a very formidable team. We spent a significant amount of resources and effort putting together the application that has been submitted to the board and the town. And we're very excited to be the ones redeveloping the Nevele. I think, as I mentioned in the past, this property is near and dear to me. As a child, I grew up coming to this property twice a year with my family. My parents and other members of our family had their honeymoons at this property. So it's something that I've always had in my blood, and we're excited to move this forward. And we think that our application that has been submitted has been carefully tailored to meet the concerns of the public, the concerns of the board, and the concerns of any other interested agencies. And the part of the team that I mentioned that's joining us in the audience, I have two of my partners, Joseph Monteleone and Andrew Roth from Somerset. And on remotely, we have Mike Moriello, which is our land use counsel. We have Chris Round and Bill Sparkman from Nevele, who's running all of our civil engineering. And we have Donna Bridgman, who is a landscape and planning expert who's been putting us through all of the presentations up until this point. And she's right now in Europe somewhere. And she's stayed up late for us, and she's going to make a presentation to the board. So if we turn, can we have Donna share her screen?
Yep, hang on a second. Let me just open that up so she can share. Hang on a second.
Any and all of
Is there a way to get it so the audience can see the presentation?
Paul?
Well,
Can't spend it.
yeah, we can. But then we're not going to see it.
Well,
I think we know.
I think we've seen
I
it.
think we've seen it.
I think I can recognize the voices.
One second, Donna.
We're gonna let the public see
Want me to
it.
help you move it?
Does that work for everybody?
Almost, a little bit more probably.
We're
I'm good. See you.
There you go.
We
there.
have a pretty good view.
Too much?
Let's go here.
Who's starting off?
So Donna's going
Okay.
to take it from here and make the presentation. We try to keep it as concise as possible.
Take your time, Keith. Big try.
And that said, Donna, turning it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Keith. Hi, everybody. Thank you for having us today. We're very excited to be in front of the town and the public. Like he said, in the interest of everyone's time and brevity, I have a very concise agenda today. Basically, we're just going to walk you through what's been submitted to the town, an overview of our agency communications to date that are obviously still ongoing, and then some next steps on the town board and public hearing, and Mike will take it from there. So August 5th, we made our last submission to the town board, and the components, I'm just going to walk you through high level what's been submitted. So an EAF has been submitted, and basically that includes our new traffic assessment and updated traffic assessment by Creighton Manning, and a bald eagle impact assessment, among other things. Another submission component that has been worked through over the last few months is we received some very comprehensive and thorough comments from the town board's consultants, NPV, and we've worked through that, made some adjustments, clarified some items, and provided more information and walked them through the plans and the details about the development, and that's really progressed the plans. It's been very helpful and really good coordination. We've also made a petition for zoning text amendment, and Chris Round, who's on the line with me, can elaborate on what this includes. Chris?
Sure. In consultation with NPV, rather than amend an existing zoning section, they suggested that we craft a floating zone that would apply specific to the project. And that goes through and outlines, similar to other planned development districts, the criteria requirements for development. Embedded in there are the review process. The project requires site plan review and subdivision review, which will follow this process. And also embedded in there are design guidelines that hopefully address the town's concerns about what will this project look like, and accompanied with that are design plans that Donna's going to walk through. It also includes a series of measures that are protective of the town and allow the town to impose conditions that further ensure the project's going to add value to the town. And I think Don has a slide. I don't know if that follows this one, Don, on the actual development program.
Yeah, here you go, Chris.
Sure. So these numbers aren't new, and the PDD would cap development on what we're calling the former Nevele property. And this is just a snapshot from the development district requirements that show the mix of uses: single family attached, and multifamily. We broke multifamily down into two components. It doesn't appear on this image, but the two components are there's some attached multifamily dwellings, and there's also you recall we had a formerly referred to as a workforce housing component. So there's a housing component that is apartment style in nature on the site that would focus on providing residence for employees and others on the site. And one of the big changes perhaps were a reduction in the height of all the facilities on site, specifically this particular component. And what's being proposed is reduced over what the existing height of the existing structures is on site. So we're sensitive to that. And that was a design modification that we made in consultation with NPV. And then it further outlines the hotel and condominium components that are part of the resort project. And in the PDD, I didn't mention, and we didn't roll through, but there are elements that allow the town to and allow the developer to phase the project. And so to allow for certain components to be built first, such as utilities, and then to ensure that there will be a resort hospitality component, because I know that's one of the concerns that's been expressed previously. That's it, Donna.
Okay. Another submission component was, like Chris said, there was some adjustments to the heights of the buildings in consultation with MPV. So we made some slight plan modifications to allow for that lower and reduced height of the buildings. We also did a view shed analysis in coordination with Nevele, looking at what is visible in the region using GIS technology, 3D modeling, on-site photography and overlays, and digital rendering of the structures to really show what it will be visible in a massing way from 5 key viewpoints. Actually 4 key viewpoints, one looking both ways. But just giving an overview of what's going to be visible. And then moving on to agency communication summary. So just a quick overview of our ongoing efforts. We spoke with the zoning board, gave them an update in April. We initially came by the town board in May, and again now. Gave presentations to the board. We had an initial comment review, which we have published responses to. We've ownership has given a site tour to MPV to really familiarize them with the place, because it's a very beautiful and complicated site. And then a lot of Q&A and coordination with various groups. We've had SHPO submissions that are ongoing, a lot of DEC and Army Corps coordination submissions, comment review periods, and that has spurred a lot of field data collection for all the seasons, so some spring gathering, summer and fall, some noise and impact assessments to really look at what the impact of construction activity noises will be on the site, and how to mitigate them throughout the construction period. Then some agency presentations and comment periods, subsequent comments and responses. And then recently we received a notice to serve letter from the Village of Ellenville and Town Board of Wawarsing for the water on site, which is great. Then we move on to next steps. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Moriello to walk through what the comment period will be like, and how to submit comments and get fruitful answers. Mike?
Thank you, Donna. For the as far as next steps go, we're in an expanded EAF process here, which is the New York State SEQR regulations, and then an expanded EAF procedure, and you must provide for public comment and an opportunity to be heard as part of that procedure. And the period of time tonight would be for oral comments on the SEQR portion or on the project itself. We welcome any comments from the public. And then we were going to suggest that to the town board, and certainly in consultation with Bill Collier, we were going to suggest that after tonight's public hearing, that the public hearing be held open for a 7-day period for written comments, and then closed at the end of that 7-day period. I will say this too, that the presentation that was made by Donna and by Chris is backed up with an awful lot of information sent to the town board and to the various consultants. The consultants for the town have done a tremendous job of reviewing a lot of documentation in with alacrity. They've done it fast, and it's that which has been helpful too. There's been a tremendous amount of effort put into the environmental review of the project, and we welcome any comments that the public may have.
So with that, I'll stop the presentation.
So I think, Mr. Houck, we're inviting any questions from the audience, should anybody have any.
Correct. Yes. Anybody in the audience or on Zoom? Anything? Any questions? A good question. Sure.
My name is Joe Nevele. I'm a property owner on the south quarter of the Nevele property. This PUD, planned unit, whatever it is, and zoning change basically, will that affect our property?
I think that question is to the board.
Mr. Geyer?
Well, obviously, the structures they're proposing to build will be on the property of Nevele, which I know is immediately adjacent to your farm. No, will your property be rezoned? Is that what your question is?
I don't understand the concept of this floating.
Okay, so the town has enacted a floating zone, so that could cover any place that was formerly a resort. So obviously, the Nevele would qualify to. And they're proposing a modification of what we have in our ordinance, some of the parameters being changed, but it will only affect the Nevele's property as far as that property being rezoned to allow a resort, and in this case, the resort that they're proposing, which is a hotel and townhouses, condos, employee housing, 46 homes, and a few cabins or bungalow type structures. So it's just going to affect that property and permit their proposed resort to be built on the east side of 209. They're not proposing to do anything on the Nevele property on the west side of 209. That answers
The
your question.
existing zoning didn't allow for a resort like this?
It allowed a developer to come in to propose a floating zone. Yes, it allowed for a resort, but not necessarily this resort. We didn't want to. The town doesn't have the ability to say, well, you can only have a certain type of resort, one that looks like Disney, or one that looks like Legoland, or one that looks like the casino over there. It just said it was available, and with the understanding that somebody coming in would propose, what it is they wanted to build, and we could either say yes or no, that seems suitable for our community. Okay. I believe their plans are to tear down essentially every structure that's there. Nothing's reusable. The 10-story presidential tower would come down. The skating rink, ski chalet would come down. All the other buildings coming down. I think the only thing being left is the water tower, and
As of now, yes.
that's it, I think.
And the schoolhouse, right?
Schoolhouse is,
It's gonna come down, but reinvented.
yeah, I mean, every day it gets a little more
And then
at risk.
Then the boutique hotels, 4 stories, I understand,
That's correct.
and
Five,
how
I
many?
think.
5?
75 feet instead of
But
100.
in the past, the tower was, I believe, 10 stories, so.
It's 110 feet.
Yeah, right. And then there's also gonna be, if you talk about maybe the Nevele Falls, or maybe some of your
Well,
plans
so,
are.
so the property is going to encompass a hotel, some different types of homes. As we mentioned, there will be single-family homes, attached townhomes, and some condo units, along with a workforce housing building, TBD amount of units for staff, employee, and also for people that want to live there, who have a desire to live in the area or work in the region. It'll be a significant nature-based project, preserving really large amount of the natural landscape that's there already, the mature trees. We did a complete tree survey. We're going to minimize the amount of trees that we have to clear. We're staying out of wetlands. We're staying out of habitats. We had an extensive cost. We had to move our project around to accommodate a bald eagle family that moved onto the site, which is now done, and we actually like the way the project sits now relative to the large part of the lake where the Bald Eagle is. It'll have a big spa it'll have multiple restaurants. It'll have sports and fitness and, different types of sporting events like tennis and paddleball and squash, and it'll have a big fitness component, and I think it'll be really, really positive thing for the community and for the region, and, something that, as I mentioned before, I was growing up getting accustomed to by coming to this property. Some of the buildings, would I wish we could save? Yes. I mean, I had a lot of fights with my partners about saving the ice skating rink, but, it's falling down, and, everything has a price, and, everything has to be economically viable, and unfortunately, with 12 years of being not looked after and being basically abandoned, it's become financially impossible to save these buildings. So, there's a lot of cost to remove the buildings as well. So, we have to also, mitigate the sound relative to the Bald Eagle. So we've gone through a lot of back and forth with various agencies, and we've done our best to accommodate, and at the same time be able to financially achieve what we want to achieve. So.
I don't have a problem with the concept of the proposal, whatever. I do have some specific questions on the environmental assessment or comments, actually. It would be better to put them in writing and submit them than hack about details in this meeting.
You could do either or both.
To the extent that they're addressed towards us, we would prefer to see them in writing and then have the ability to answer them. If that's, Mike, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes, any questions that are handed in during this meeting or during the public comment period, we will certainly address, right? Absolutely.
Without going, like I say, into a lot of detail, one concern, I know the lake, the restoration of the lake there is kind of a central component to the proposal, and if it's restored to the height that it was, that backs water up, because if you look at the topography there's very little fall between the lands, very flat. And when that dam went out in Irene in 2011, the water table on our property dropped considerably. So I'm concerned about restoring that lake and what effect that's going to have. That's probably the biggest comment I have.
Well, as I said, if you could voice all of your concerns in writing, submit them to the appropriate recipient, and we will get our answers to you relatively quickly. And needless to say, any restoration, any work that we are going to do is going to be in accordance with whatever DEC or Army Corps permit applications are required. And I assure you that they consider all of these things that you're describing relative to any restoration.
Thank you.
And happy to talk offline too. I can give you my number and we can talk through things as good neighbors.
Thank you.
That's good.
Anything else?
You can't wait for it to start.
That makes a lot of us.
You have it over there.
They want to leave it open for written comments for 7 days.
He's got it ready. Okay.
I need a motion to close the public portion of today's meeting, public hearing, with the understanding that written comments mailed, hand-delivered, or emailed received by the town before 4 p.m. on September 12th and will be considered and will constitute a portion of the record.
I'll move it.
Second.
Andrew makes a motion. Bill
Second.
seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried.
So if anyone's going to leave, if you would just please print your name and whatever else is on that form so we have a record as to who's in attendance. You're certainly welcome to stay, but if you're planning on leaving,
Hey, Keith?
understood.
Oh, wait. Mike's saying something.
Was held open for written comments till the 12th.
Right.
Yes.
12 to 4 p.m.
Okay, who's got number 17?
Terry.
Hi, Nevele neighbor.
Number 17.
Okay, number 17, town board to authorize human resource to advertise for the position of code enforcement officer. Application to return to 4 Liberty Street by noon, 9/22/22.
I'll move it.
Second.
Makes a motion, Bill seconds it, all in favor?
Aye.
All in, that motion's passed.
Yep.
So number 18 is Mr.
Number
Brown.
18 is a motion to purchase 6 pieces of ADA-approved playground equipment for Lippman Park. Items to be purchased from Willie Goat Playground Incorporated at a cost not to exceed $9,000 from line item 7710.2.
I'll make the motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. So, at this point, we got Mr. Page.
Yes, go ahead. Chat with us a little bit about road stuff.
Right there.
Well, we got a lot of roads taken care of, but nobody on the board went up and seen the bridge.
Barbara Lane.
I went up to the bridge the other day. They were taking the concrete barriers out and
Yeah, but it's all installed.
and they were taking the rails out.
Well, that's good.
I said today.
That's good. Harbor Road Bridge.
We got roughly about 28,000 and change back from the insurance company. I think the total cost was something like $44,000.
We did well
So
on that.
they paid for half the bridge. I talked about hiring some people, and Bill said we're gonna get together. Wendell,
Well, we have to decide when we're gonna do the,
We can do them separately or you can do them together.
yeah, with, who's the other person we're gonna do? Oh, rec department.
You can do them all at once, or actually, if there's only 2 board members, you can do them anytime.
Okay.
That depends.
I can do it down
Well,
there.
except for the rec. That should
Except for
be-
the rec. The recreation should be everybody.
Tony's right. Tony can go off separately with the board.
Can we
member.
do ours quick like down barn or something?
We can
Like
set
we done in the
that up.
past? I could set up and get it done like,
Yeah, just advise us a couple days in advance.
yes, I will.
Okay.
Other than
Monday,
that,
Wednesdays, Fridays are good for me.
Wednesday, but
Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
So Tuesday. Now I'm just-
Well, Tuesday's good up until like 2 o'clock. So, you know, I get out of work at 10 and,
I can do it whenever.
Okay.
It ain't gonna take as long.
Okay.
I've got a lot of questions.
You got a lot of questions? Okay. I think that's it. I wanna talk about something else, what am I doing tonight?
We can do it after an executive session. Not to convene.
No, I wanna go home, I started
We have
at 4
one,
o'clock this morning.
we do have one thing.
Your wife's waiting for you at home. She doesn't have a job anymore.
Last day was yesterday.
She knows, I told her already.
I set her up good.
So, we're talking, Mike Machetta's not here.
Yeah.
So,
If I just, I'm not gonna be here the next meeting, I'm gonna be on vacation.
Uh-huh.
I did give Jackie local law number 7, which you're having a public hearing for, and then resolution and all that, so.
all right, good. Paul?
Okay. First thing I'd like to do is just thank our community. I'm a relatively new member of the Ellenville Fire District, and I can tell you that all the first responders, volunteers, the fire district, ambulance, EMT, you name it, are just absolutely amazed at how our community has come together to provide support for a lot of hard work on the Nappaneck Ridge fire. It's amazing how much food, clothing, gloves, T-shirts. I mean, I got soaking wet the other night coming back when the downpour came, and I kind of half teasingly said, anybody have a T-shirt? And they said, hey, what size you want? So I just want to personally, on behalf of all of the folks that have been out there at Kimball and up on the top of the ridge. We really, really appreciate all the prayers, all the thanks, all the food, all the supplies, all the everything. It's just been absolutely amazing. It was also great to see that as part of the water dumps being done by the police helicopters and also the Army helicopters, they utilized our local airport and have been very successfully, helping to fight the fire as well. So again, just kudos to our community. We really, really appreciate it and just want to make sure that everybody knows how much we appreciate all the thoughts, prayers, and help that you've given us. And that's all I've got for tonight.
Okay, Paul, Bill Brown.
We're going to be doing interviews next week for 2 items for the Highway Department. Cemeteries, we installed the signage at the Napanock Rural Cemetery that was established in 1853. We received some positive comments from people when we were installing them, and some questions from other people when we were installing the other sign. Signs are in for Lippman Park. I told Mike where to install them, and they'll be put up in the near future. Going to be interviewing also for the rec department item, hopefully by next week. And as far as the village, we really need to get together and have another meeting, and we have to do what's best for our town people that are located in the village, and try to work some things out and come to some resolution, and we need to set up a date, a separate day when we can just talk that and air out our issues, let them air out their issues, come to some common ground where we can, and just move forward and come up with something positive out of the whole mess at this point. And September 7th, once again, 5 of the county offices are going to be next door at the Elmville Methodist Church. Social Services, the Veterans, the Office of the Aging, the County Executive's Office, and Economic Development. So get the word out there, and they're coming quarterly. We want to make it as many people take advantage of that as we can, so that they keep up with the quarterly meetings. The next one after this is December 7th. That's it.
Hey, Bill, the county coming they're not coming next week. They've changed the date. With the social services, and they're coming to, I believe, the library or the Trudy Farm. They're coming to the Trudy Farm Resident Building. They were going to come on the 7th, but now they've changed the date, and I don't know what date it is. So when we find out, we'll put it on Facebook and whatever. They initially were saying they were going to come on the 7th. I believe.
Yeah, we've been advertising for the 7th.
So we've been advertising.
I think it was yesterday or today we got notice that they're changing the date. Cassie Sport.
Okay. I too want to thank everybody that's been out there working to save the ridge. But I also, on July 15th, Supervisor Houck issued a conserve water in Napanock. Then on August 22nd, he listed a state of emergency, which required everybody to conserve water that collects, who gets water from either our Cohonson or our Napanock Water District, and to not burn anything outside. And I had my water department bring together some numbers for us, because sometimes numbers speak louder than what I can say. We normally have access to 280,000 gallons a day. We are down to access to 158 gallons a day. 158,000 gallons a day. I apologize. So I need people to really, really think about this. It takes 120 gallons of water to take a 15-minute shower. It takes 30 gallons to run a load of laundry. It takes 27 gallons to use a dishwasher. They prefer you to use your dishwasher over hand washing because I don't know what the number is if you hand wash them, but it's a lot. So that's 177 gallons of water that we can account for. And I have no idea what people are doing out there, but I need you all to hear me. We need to conserve this water. If we don't, one of these days we're going to turn a tap on and there's not going to be any water. Well 3B is now shut down. There's no water in it. They've shut the pump down. There's just nothing there. So we need to be really conscious of what we're doing. Also in step with that, I have had residents call me and tell me that their own private wells are going dry. If that is happening to you, could you please contact Town Hall? My extension is 128. Leave a message with your name and address so that I've been in contact with the county. They would like a list of the number of people whose wells are in jeopardy, because at some point we had reached a tipping point where we're going to have to help the citizenry with getting water. But I need a list, a comprehensive list. So let's see. On better news, we have hooked up and are metered, and people are getting 11 homes in the Wawarsing Water District are now receiving water. They're receiving from Croxton because the tank's not full yet, but they are receiving water. And I've talked to some of them and they're very excited. It's clean water, it tastes good, and life is much better for them. We're moving forward with this, but as I have had my other two districts, the contractors are well aware that they need to conserve the amount of water they use when they pressure test things, so they are also conserving water. So we're moving forward with that, and it looks like this project is rapidly approaching the finish line. The resolutions that we approved tonight for the Ulster County Sewer and Water Grant Program, they're going to help us once the monies are awarded, we will be rehabbing well 1 and 2 in Napanock, which will increase the level of water that is accessible there, because those levels are down. And so that is why we did those resolutions today, to get funding from the county to fix the wells. I want to wish everybody a fantastic holiday this weekend, and be safe, be smart with don't do any outside burning.
None, please.
None. And Town Hall is closed on Monday if you didn't know that. And Terry, I'm over to you now.
Okie dokie. So, as Paul mentioned, I'd like to first state the people that are in with the fire, the people that are living local. There's a lot of people to thank, all of our 4 fire districts. And everybody's doing a fantastic job, and staging down at the Kimball Hose in Ellenville at the base of the mountain. The fire started off of Smiley Road, not off of Smiley Road, but above Smiley Road, a very, very steep 300 yards above that. So the message that the emergency services and the DEC are saying through their calculations with the data and computer technology that they have is it was lightning strike on the Napanock Point, and also lightning strike on Stony Kill, which is above and over top of the ridge. So there's about 200 personnel that have been involved with this project. I learned a lot about boxing in the fires and this technology of how to put out a fire, and just like to thank everybody that was involved. Thank the community for bringing all the water and drinks and food, fresh food and canned food and snacks, and they've been much more generous than, it's amazing. They've actually, today, now we don't even accept it, because we're asking them, please don't even bring any more until, we put something out. So,
We might need some more Gatorade tomorrow, but no more water.
yeah, so Paul said that we might need more Gatorade. you know, as far as the water, but as far as the food, presently, right now, they'll put out a message. I like the coordination of how this is going. Anybody can criticize anything they want, I guess, but unless they don't really know, you know, how the state works with the DEC and how the parks work. You know, the parks and the state are different agencies in the town of Wawarsing. So I believe it was on the 22nd when I put out the official state of emergency, but from my direction specifically. And it meant no burning. And the DEC has, in the order, actually, it does say that this doesn't include what the DEC includes. So as much as we can, we've been on the same page. They've closed Lake Minnewaska and Sam's Point a couple days ago, and rightfully so. It's a good idea. Actually, today, as of today, Lake Mohawk was still in operation. So there are, expect that today I actually talked to Hank Alacandri, who's also done a wonderful job. He's on our environmental committee, he's on our Village Town Parks Commission. He's a very good asset for the town, and he's part of this process over on the Burn Road. And we were talking about, I got a call from one of the state people from the parks, and what we're doing is, I brought Tony into the conversation, is that we're closing Decker Road and Shaft 2A only to people that live in that neighborhood. So anybody that sees this video or sees something on Facebook, those roads are closed for the holiday weekend, which the park, you know, Eric Humphrey, who's the director of Minnewaska, I've had a lot of conversations with him in the last number of days, and he didn't want to do this, but that's what they have to do to, you know, to tame the fire here and get everything under control. And again, as of today, the containment was 30%. So it all depends on the weather, depends on the rain. The rain that we did have, people think, well, okay, that's fine. Well, that's really not fine, because the water, if it's coming down quick, it doesn't penetrate the ground, and the ground through the drought is not sufficient in order to establish, you know, the fire or extinguish the fire. So again, actually this afternoon, Governor Hochul came down to the site at the Burn Road and spoke to the public, and Deputy Parks Commissioner spoke, County Executive Pat Ryan spoke, and one of the DEC leaders of this region, I guess, also spoke. Was it Robbie? What's the last name? Mikas. Robbie Mikas. So there was 3 or 4 people that were speaking today, and it was a shared effort, and they just, I guess they wanted to come down and say that, you know, what the status was. And 2 days ago we had a meeting at the, they wanted a space of about 100 people, and they had a public meeting, and we held it in the Ellenville auditoriums at the school. So there's been a lot of cooperation. I'd like to thank everybody that did, you know, cooperate at the state level and at the county level, and especially here for the people that were doing the work. And actually today there was a Canadian contingent.
Yep.
From
Quebec.
Well, they said they were from different provinces, from what I listened to. And there was about 20 people from Canada. So they were the ones. Ellenville District had a red truck, but then there was about 9 trucks or so that were all red trucks, kind of like Bill's. Anyway, again, just personally, over the last few years, and especially in this fire, Eric Humphrey from the Parks Commission, he's the director of the Minnewaska Park. You know, he's been a very big help with the town of Wawarsing. Mike Gaffney, through the pandemic and up till today, he even delivered some more recent test kits for COVID. Everett Erickson's done a good job, and again, Hank Alacandri. But I don't limit that to just these 4 people. Everybody that's been involved has done a great job. The Nevele project today, this is a public hearing, and after the public hearing tonight, before they left, they're saying we're getting to the point where we're getting to the finish line where they can actually start this project. I'd like to thank Bill Kyer for discussing with Mike Moriello. You have a good relationship with him in the county, and he's their land use attorney. And these guys are from the Bronx, and Mike is from Kingston. But obviously, they must have felt pretty good to have him on their staff, and we're moving in the right direction. So at this time, I think we need. Excuse me. Yeah. One second. I have to talk about the Black Hawk helicopters, okay? So, during the process, we've talked to some of the people over at the Kimballs, and they were asking for agreements between the town, which Bill and I will talk about. They wanted to know what sites that they were using for liability and all that stuff. And a few days ago, they brought in 2 state helicopters and 2 Black Hawk helicopters with the U.S. Army there. And the Black Hawks, actually, I believe, we hear one over our head right now. I think they carry around 600 gallons of water versus the state ones that either between 150 or 250. Yeah, 250. So we appreciate that help. And Jackie, I believe, has the floor because she's going to talk about the dogs. Turn it around, and Jackie, I understand that somebody
from the prison, Eastern stopped by today, and pretty soon we're gonna have puppies at the prison, okay? He mentioned in about 2 weeks, there will be a few dogs coming that are coming from other prisons, okay? Just to get everything settled, see how things run smoothly with the inmates doing them. But what they need is help from the public. They would like the public to volunteer to take the puppies. You take them to stores, you take them to ball games. I believe it's nights and weekends, okay? And get them acclimated to the noises and the surroundings and people and other animals. So it's a good thing. Like I said, in a couple of weeks, we'll have the other puppies from the other prisons just as a trial run. But he told me that the dog that is providing the new puppies, there's 10 of them. So hopefully, I don't know if they're doing all 10 or a few at a time, but I think those will be ready to come probably the end of October, because they're like 8 weeks old when they first come. So something exciting. If the public is interested, you can contact either the supervisor's office or my office, and we will be in touch with the prison system then. Okay?
So I did do that on purpose to have Jackie do it, because she does a much better job than I would.
That's a rough job.
That's a rough job. All right, so do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make it.
Paul makes the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think we have to talk for a second.
Okay.